and welcome to Children's Message today. We're so glad that you joined us on this third Sunday after Easter. So let's remember what's been happening before we get to our story today. So, of course, on Easter, we have Jesus who died on the cross for us to save us from our sins. And then after that, we remember that the disciples were still trying to figure out if Jesus was alive or not. And so we had doubting Thomas, who had a really hard time believing that Jesus could have risen from the dead. And so he had to see Jesus' hand to believe. And then we have Cephas and his friends having a hard time recognizing Jesus last week on the road to Emmaus. But what's really wonderful is that when we have a hard time recognizing Jesus and his hope that he has for us, he's still with us all the time, giving us his presence and his hope for the future. So with this in mind, let's get to our story today, where we have King David, and we have God, and the sheep. So God is taking care of the sheep, and we are the sheep. But there's some really scary things around them in this story, which we'll see. So let's see what happens in our Bibles today. Let us turn to Psalm 23, and it reads as follows. Here is a song about God's peace, written by King David. God cares for me like a shepherd cares for sheep, with food and water and safety. I love being a sheep in God's flock. God gives me a safe place to rest and grow strong, like green fields and calm lakes. God is always with me. When I'm in a dark valley and can't see, I'm not afraid. When I feel lonely, God keeps me company. When I feel unsure, God reaches out and comforts me. I will never forget. God's way is the best. When I'm surrounded by enemies, God serves up a banquet. It's a table filled with food for everyone. Anyone who wants to hurt me will see God pours out love on me. God's love always surrounds me. It's like a cup spilling over because it's so full. Everywhere I look, I see God's goodness. Not just today, not just on the good days, every day. Wherever I am, God is by my side. So let's remember what happened in our story today. So we have King David, who we learned about a few weeks ago before Easter, and he is telling us a story about how God takes care of his people, who are the sheep. So God is such a good shepherd that he makes sure that the sheep always have what they need, no matter how good or how bad things are. And even in the presence of bad, like enemies or bad times, he makes sure that we have enough to drink and enough to eat and that we're taken care of. And we can always trust that God will be with us and help us. And so today, our theme is sheep, because we are the sheep that God takes care of. So when you're scared, when you're worried you won't have enough, pray to God and ask for his help, and he'll be with you. So before we end, let us put our hands together and pray together. Jesus, you are our good shepherd. Be with everyone we know who needs your love, comfort, and care right now. Amen. Have a good week.